All right, let's get right into it. Google just released an AI model called Gemma 4, and it basically throws the entire industry's bigger is always better rulebook out the window. We are talking about a model that's so powerful, yet so incredibly small that your first reaction is probably going to be something like, and really, that's not an exaggeration at all. Imagine an AI that's smart enough to go toe-to-toe with these massive data center models, but it's also small enough that it can run on a regular gaming GPU, or heck, even on your phone. So how on earth is that possible? Well, that's exactly what we're about to break down. So just last week, Google went and did something that, no other major tech company has really had the nerve to do. They released a large language model that is genuinely 100% free and open source. And this is a really key difference. I mean, we've all seen these open models from companies like Meta, right? But they usually have these restrictive licenses. They're kind of quasi-free. You can mess around with them for research, sure, but the moment you start making any real money, the company that built the model has all this legal leverage over you. Gemma 4 is different. It's got an Apache 2.0 license, which means free as in freedom. You can build, you can innovate, and you can monetize without looking over your shoulder. So just to quickly recap, Gemma 4 is hitting 3 marks that make it a total game changer. It's truly open source. It's incredibly intelligent, right up there with its bigger competitors. And yeah, it's suspiciously small. And that last part, that's the real mystery we need to get to the bottom of. Which, of course, brings us to the big question. How in the world did Google pull off this incredible shrinkage? And the answer is so interesting, because they didn't just make the model smaller, they went after the real bottleneck in AI. Just think about it for a second. When you try to run a really powerful AI on your own computer, what's the thing that makes it just grind to a halt? Is it raw processing power? Is it just the sheer number of calculations? Well, surprisingly, no. For years, the story has been all about parameter count, billions and billions of them being the measure of intelligence. But that's not really the full picture. The number of parameters isn't the main reason you can't run a huge model on your laptop. The real villain here, the thing that slows everything down, is memory bandwidth. It's not about how many parameters you have, it's about how fast you can actually read them. So what even is memory bandwidth? The easiest way to think about it is like a speed limit on a highway. This highway runs between your GPU's memory, its VRAM, and its processor. Now, every single time the AI generates just one word, what we call a token, it has to read all of its weights, its entire brain, from that memory. If that highway is clogged or has a slow speed limit, the whole operation just crawls, no matter how fast your processor is. And this is where Google's team got seriously clever. They knew memory bandwidth was the real problem, so they attacked it head-on with some absolutely brilliant compression magic. So alongside Gemma 4, Google also quietly published research on something they're calling Turbo Quant. Now, quantization is just a fancy tech term for compressing a model's weights to make it smaller. And usually when you do that, you get a smaller model, but it also gets dumber. Turbo Quant completely changes that equation. Turbo Quant uses a couple of really slick mathematical tricks. First, it uses a whole different coordinate system. Think about using radius and angle instead of the usual x, y, z to store information way more efficiently. Then, it uses this complex transform to shrink the data way, way down, all while keeping the important relationships between the data points intact. Look, it's super technical, but the result is you get this powerful compression with surprisingly little loss in performance. But here's the plot twist. As amazing as Turbo Quant is, it's not actually the main secret behind Gemma 4's ridiculous size and efficiency. The real magic is something else entirely. The real game changer here is something called per-layer embeddings. The best way to picture this is to imagine that for every single word the AI is thinking about, it gives each layer of its brain its own tiny, customized cheat sheet. So in a traditional model, a word gets this one big packet of information at the very beginning, and it has to drag that entire packet through every single layer of the network, even if most of that info isn't needed for a specific step. It's just wildly inefficient. Gemma 4, on the other hand, is much smarter. It only introduces specific, relevant information at the exact layer where it's actually useful. It's like packing light for each leg of a journey instead of hauling a giant suitcase with you everywhere you go. Okay, so that's the how they did it. But what does this actually mean for us in the real world? Well, the practical impact here is just staggering. Let's just put this all into perspective. Take the 31 billion parameter version of Gemma 4. It performs in the same general ballpark as a competitor model like Kimi K 2.5. But now look at the requirements. Gemma 4 is a 20 gigabyte download that I can run on my gaming PC at home. To run its competitor, you'd need a download that's over 600 gigabytes, and you'd need a whole rack of enterprise GPUs that cost a small fortune. I mean, the difference is just absurd. Let that sink in for a second. 20 gigabytes. That is the size of a modern video game, and it's delivering performance that, up until right now, you needed a small data center to achieve. That number right there, that changes everything. And this all points to a much bigger, almost philosophical shift in AI. This kind of technology isn't just a small step forward, it's signaling a future where powerful AI finally leaves the cloud and comes to live on our own personal devices. And the benefits of that are just massive. When AI runs locally, it's private. Your personal data never has to leave your device. It's offline, it works on an airplane, in the subway, anywhere you want. And it's instant. No more annoying lag while you wait for a response from some server halfway across the globe. Now, let's be realistic here. Gemma 4 is a fantastic all-around model. It's especially powerful if you want to fine-tune it using your own private data. But it's not about to replace those super specialized, top-of-the-line tools for things like professional coding. Not yet, anyway. Its real strength is just how accessible and versatile it is. When you boil it all down, Gemma 4 is really the first big step toward democratizing high-end AI. And it leaves us with this one fascinating question to think about. What really happens to our world, to our jobs, and to our privacy when truly powerful intelligence isn't in some far-off cloud anymore, but it's right here in your pocket?